Beaver Stadium was electric. A whiteout, over 100,000 fans, and a top-10 showdown. Penn State versus Oregon. The energy was palpable, with every seat filled and the crowd buzzing with anticipation. This wasn't just another Saturday night, it was a spectacle, a moment that fans had circled on their calendars for months. The stadium glowed under the lights, a sea of white shirts and waving towels, as the Nittany Lions prepared for one of the biggest games of the season. This was Penn State's chance to finally break through, to prove they belonged with the nation's elite. The players ran onto the field with fire in their eyes, knowing the weight of history and expectation rested on their shoulders. For years, Penn State had been knocking on the door, but tonight felt different. The stakes were higher, the opponent tougher, and the opportunity greater than ever before. For 3 quarters, hope faded. Oregon's defense stifled Penn State's offense, and every missed opportunity seemed to drain a little more energy from the crowd. The tension was thick, and frustration grew with each passing minute as the scoreboard tilted in Oregon's favor. Then, a furious comeback sent the game to overtime. Penn State refused to quit, clawing their way back with grit and determination. The offense found new life, the defense made crucial stops, and suddenly, hope was reborn. The sideline erupted as the game-tying touchdown crossed the goal line, and the impossible seemed within reach. The crowd roared, believing this time would be different. The noise was deafening, a wall of sound that shook the stadium to its core. Fans hugged, high-fived, and let themselves dream that this would finally be the night Penn State broke through the glass ceiling. But in double overtime, it ended in heartbreak. Oregon 30, Penn State 24. The dream slipped away in an instant, replaced by the harsh reality of another missed opportunity. Oregon celebrated as Penn State's players dropped to their knees, stunned by the sudden end to their hopes. The stadium fell silent, the hope of a season-defining win slipping away. The once roaring crowd was now hushed, disbelief and sadness etched on every face. It was a gut punch, the kind of loss that lingers long after the final whistle. This wasn't just another loss, it was a painful repeat of a familiar story. For Penn State fans, the heartbreak was all too familiar. The big stage, the high hopes, and the crushing disappointment. The walk out of the stadium was slow, heavy with the weight of what could have been. Under Coach James Franklin, Penn State dominates most opponents, climbs the rankings, and builds excitement. The program has become a perennial contender, regularly winning big games and thrilling fans with memorable moments. Yet the biggest victories, the ones that define a season, remain just out of reach. But when it's time to beat another top 10 team, they fall just short. The glass ceiling remains. Each close call adds to the frustration, as Penn State's quest for national respect continues to be blocked by narrow defeats in the games that matter most. Fans are left asking, when will Penn State finally win the games that matter most? The conversations on campus, in living rooms, and at tailgates all circle back to the same question. The hunger for a breakthrough is stronger than ever, but so is the doubt. The latest loss to Oregon is another reminder of that frustrating barrier. It's a wound that reopens every time the Nittany Lions come up just short, a reminder of how close they are and how far they still have to go. The program's biggest challenge remains unsolved. Until Penn State can win these defining games, the question will linger. When will the Nittany Lions finally break through and seize the moment that has eluded them for so long? James Franklin has built a winning program, 10-win seasons, top recruits, and national respect. But one number overshadows it all. After Oregon, Franklin is 4-21 against AP top 10 teams. In Big Ten play, it's even worse, 1-18. These are the games that decide championships and playoff spots. The inability to win them is the defining issue of Franklin's tenure. It's not just bad luck, it's a persistent, long-term trend. Franklin's .160 winning percentage in these games is among the worst for any major program coach. Until this changes, Penn State will remain on the outside looking in. Breaking this pattern is the program's biggest challenge. After the tough loss to Oregon, Coach Franklin didn't hide behind excuses or point fingers at anyone else. Instead, he stood in front of the cameras and the bright lights, ready to answer the hard questions that everyone was asking. He faced the media head-on, acknowledging the criticism that had been swirling around the program. Franklin called the feedback factual, showing he wasn't shying away from the reality of the situation or the disappointment that fans and analysts felt. At the end of the day, we've got to find a way to win those games. I take responsibility, he said, his voice steady but determined. It was a moment of accountability that not every coach is willing to offer, especially after a high-profile defeat. Franklin's honesty resonated with fans across the Penn State community. He didn't try to deflect blame onto his players, his staff, or even the officials. There was no sugarcoating, no attempt to spin the narrative, just a straightforward admission that things need to be better. He accepted the immense weight of expectations that come with leading a storied program like Penn State, where simply winning most games isn't enough to satisfy the passionate fan base or the university's proud tradition. Championships are the ultimate goal here, and that means finding ways to win on the biggest stages, under the brightest lights, when the stakes are highest. Anything less is seen as falling short. Franklin's public ownership of the loss is a step forward for the program, but he knows as well as anyone that words alone won't change the narrative or erase the sting of defeat. Actions, not just promises, are what matter most now. The message to his players, to recruits considering Penn State, and to the loyal fans is clear. He's not satisfied with coming up short, and he understands exactly what's at stake for the future of the program. Now, the real challenge begins, turning that honesty and accountability into tangible results on the field. The team must regroup, refocus, and push themselves even harder in practice and preparation. The pressure is on to deliver a breakthrough victory, to prove that Penn State can rise to the occasion when it matters most. Every game from here on out will be watched even more closely. Franklin's leadership and passion for the program are clear, but so is the urgency. The entire Penn State community is looking for signs of progress and hope. The next big game will be the true test of whether this team can respond to adversity and rise above the setbacks. The anticipation is building, and the stakes have never been higher. Penn State's future depends on how they answer this challenge, on and off the field. Being a Penn State fan is a roller coaster. Most Saturdays are filled with wins, tailgates, and hope. The whiteout, the energy, the belief, every year fans dream this is the season. But when the big game arrives, heartbreak too often follows. The cycle repeats, hope, excitement, then crushing disappointment. Fans dissect every play, every decision, searching for answers. Yet their loyalty never wavers. They return week after week, believing the breakthrough will come. The emotional toll is real, but so is the bond. Penn State fans endure the pain together, always hoping for that elusive, season-changing win. The journey is exhausting, but it's what makes the victories, when they come, so sweet. Until then, hope remains the heartbeat of Happy Valley. For 3 quarters, Penn State's offense was stuck in neutral, just 47 rushing yards, barely any rhythm, and a daunting 17. 3 deficits staring them in the face. The crowd watched in frustration as the team struggled to find any spark, each drive ending in disappointment. The energy in Beaver Stadium was tense, the hope of a comeback fading with every stalled possession. But then, with their season hanging by a thread and the pressure mounting, Drew Aller and the Nittany Lions found something deep within themselves. Aller led a furious fourth-quarter comeback, refusing to let the moment slip away. The offense suddenly came alive, moving the ball with urgency and confidence, as if a switch had been flipped. 2 electrifying touchdown drives tied the game, sending Beaver Stadium into an absolute frenzy. Fans who had been quiet for most of the game erupted with hope, their belief in the team reignited. The noise was deafening, the atmosphere electric, as Penn State clawed their way back from the brink. Overtime arrived, and the tension was palpable. Penn State struck first, seizing the lead and daring to dream, but Oregon answered right back, refusing to be outdone, and the battle raged on. In double overtime, Oregon wasted no time, scoring immediately and putting all the pressure squarely on Penn State's shoulders. Every play felt like it could decide the season. On the very first play of Penn State's possession, Aller's pass was intercepted. Game over. The stadium fell silent, the dream of victory slipping away in an instant. The comeback, the hope, the noise, all of it ended in a single, crushing moment. The emotional roller coaster came to a screeching halt, leaving players and fans stunned. It was a game defined by resilience and heartbreak, a contest where Penn State showed incredible fight, but ultimately fell short. The pain was visible on every face, the weight of the loss heavy in the air. Penn State battled until the very end, showing the kind of grit and determination that defines great teams. But in the end, one costly mistake proved too much to overcome. The loss stung not just for what happened on the field, but for what it represented. Another missed opportunity on a national stage, another chance to prove themselves slipping away. The team's effort was undeniable, their will to win clear for all to see, yet the result was all too familiar, a hard-fought battle ending in heartbreak. The story of the Oregon game is the story of Penn State's ongoing struggle to finish, to turn potential into victory when it matters most. The search for a breakthrough continues, a journey defined by hope, heartbreak, and the relentless pursuit of something greater. Senior quarterback Drew Aller was under the spotlight. For much of the game, he struggled. Just 137 passing yards, little rhythm. But in the fourth quarter, he led a dramatic comeback, throwing 2 key touchdowns. Then, in double overtime, his interception ended it all. Aller is now 0-6 against AP top 6 teams. His talent is clear, but late-game mistakes in big moments have become a pattern. The question, can he deliver when it matters most? After the game, Aller took responsibility and promised to keep fighting. For Penn State to break through, he must turn flashes of brilliance into 4 quarters of excellence. The pressure is on for Aller to change his legacy. Penn State's comeback against Oregon brought back memories of 2016's legendary win over Ohio State. That night, a blocked field goal sealed a program-defining upset and a Big Ten title. It remains Franklin's only top 10 Big Ten win. For a moment, it felt like history might repeat itself. The team's fight and resilience were reminiscent of that magical night. But the endings were different. 2016 ended in triumph, 2025 in heartbreak. The 2016 win set a standard the program has struggled to reach again. Each new big game loss is a painful reminder of what's possible and what's missing. The shadow of 2016 looms large, fueling both hope and frustration. Penn State is still searching for its next defining moment. Another top 10 loss raises tough questions for Penn State's future under Franklin. The program is stable, always competitive, but the ceiling feels capped. Critics argue a new coach might be needed to win the biggest games. The administration values consistency, but fans want more. The expanded college football playoff means the season isn't over. The team must learn, regroup, and seize the next opportunity. The challenge turn adversity into growth and finally break through. Franklin has taken ownership. Now he must deliver change. The next big stage will define the program's direction. Penn State's story isn't finished, but the ending must be different. Double overtime heartbreak is brutal, but every loss is a lesson. Penn State's comeback showed heart and resilience. They proved they can compete with anyone. Now, they must turn that fight into 60 minutes of execution. Coaches and players must learn from mistakes, especially in critical moments. The season isn't lost. The dream is still alive. The true test is how they respond. Adversity can fuel growth if they embrace it. The next challenge awaits, and the opportunity for redemption is still ahead. For Penn State, the path forward is clear: learn, adapt, and finally finish the job. The journey continues, with hope and with something to prove.